Over the years, Manchester United's youth academy has produced some of the most memorable footballers the Premier League has ever seen. Some have gone on to become world-class players, while some have fallen short. But of this generation, no youngster has been more exciting to witness than the rising dynamic midfielder Kobbie Mainoo. So much so that one former United superstar described him as the new Paul Scholes, while another compared him to the legendary midfielder Clarence Seedorf. But just how good is Kobbie Mainoo actually? Having impressed in the second half of the season, what could be the future hold for one of the best talents coming out of Carrington lately? Kobbie Mainoo's football career began at the age of 5 at junior football club Cheadle and Gatley. From early on, his character showed signs of things to come, with his academy coach, Steve Bear, describing him as definitely a standout player by a mile at that young age. His biggest quality was his dribbling, but his strength was also good, and he was quick, very hard to knock off the ball even at 6 years of age. It was around this point that Kobbie Mainoo's father would discuss the next phase of Kobbie's development and how best to ensure the growth of his potential. One of the ideas was to push for the academy to move him up to older age levels, as his dominance was outstanding, and the coaches would organize matches that set him up to play against only the best and older players at the academy. We used to hand out man of the match trophies, but you could have given it to him pretty much every week. So it was a case of handing it to best effort and that sort of thing. If it was just based on man of the match, Kobbie would have won it each time. It was all quite straightforward for him. His early days look a lot like deja vu with where his career is now. A young, exciting talent described as strong, quick, hungry, and with enough character to take on whatever challenges exist in his path. As the years rolled on, Bear advised Kobbie's father to find an academy setup that would facilitate his development, and the next stop was Manchester-based Failsworth Dynamo's academy, where he'd work with Ian Kelly. Like Bear, Kelly was immediately impressed by Mainoo's natural ability that he took him on board, despite having a full academy of players, and played him a year above his level. Over the next 3 years, Kelly helped mold the young Stockport-born boy into a more complete footballer, team player, and overall athlete that could compete in the biggest clubs in the world. The next phase of his development was about rotating his positions regularly from midfield to wing, adapting his talents to the different roles across the football pitch, and honing his team play abilities. His dribbling was great, but you could tell he'd never played for a team before, so the main thing was teaching him to pass the ball. He had a good shot from distance, a really powerful shot. He'd finished second as the team's top goal scorer, but he wouldn't play as a striker, Kelly said. As the seasons roll with Failsworth's under-10s winning cup after cup, including a treble, Kobbie Mainoo's exploits were attracting the interest from Greater Manchester and beyond. It wasn't long before then that he'd have to make the dreaded choice between the red half or blue half. It's a little known fact that at some point Manchester City were also keen observers of the boy. The Manchester rivalry is one of the greatest in sports, two of the most successful clubs in England across different eras. How much the Manchester Moon has turned closer to blue than red over the years is a point of great contention. But what is certain amidst all the noise is one thing: only a special kind of talent can entice the interest of the two Manchester powerhouse rivals at the same time. And as the next phase of his career would reveal, special is just what Kobbie Mainoo is. Manchester United's famous youth system had once again found itself a gem as Kobbie's development progressed, on par with the vision to become a more rounded and complete footballer. Within 8 years since joining, his first taste of glory at United came with the 2022 FA Youth Cup after a solid display against Nottingham Forest in the final in front of a record-breaking attendance at Old Trafford for the competition. Over 67,000 fans packed the Theatre of Dreams as United's next generation, including fellow teammate Alejandro Garnacho, announced themselves, but it was even more special for two members of the audience. Former coach at Failsworth Dynamo's Ian Kelly received a text message from Mainoo's father, who thanked him for what he'd done for the then 17-year-old Youth Cup champion. Steve Bear, who coached him at Cheadle and Gatley, was in the stands. Everything was coming full circle, but more was in store. After joining the under-21 team, he quickly progressed to training with the first team, around which he signed his first professional contract with the club. He got his first call-up soon after and made the bench against Newcastle in October of the same year. But it wasn't until January 10th that he'd make his first team debut, starting against Charlton Athletic at Old Trafford in the quarter-final of the League Cup. Ten Hag explained that Mainoo deserved his debut after impressing during the December winter camp in Spain and for performing well in training. Captain Bruno Fernandes also used the word deserved. when describing Mainoo's debut. Within 2 months, he made his league debut coming off the bench against Leicester City in February. Over the course of the season, Mainoo's assured, composed, and confident performances in the middle of the park saw Erik ten Hag give him more and more minutes, as at times he'd covered for United's injured starters. A series of quality displays for the under-21s and the first team saw him crowned the Jimmy Murphy Young Player of the Year, an award won by players like Garnacho, Marcus Rashford, Ryan Giggs, and the one man he most closely resembles, Paul Scholes, according to Dimitar Berbatov. And just like former coaches and academy staff of United have noted about Kobbie, he remains grounded despite the hype and pressure and continues to deliver reliable performances into the new season. After being injured in the recent preseason US tour, he marked his return with a stellar man-of-the-match performance and a 3-0 win against Everton, a performance that former United midfield general Roy Keane described as nice and brave, lots of courage. Former United captain Gary Neville said he looked like a Manchester City player, someone Guardiola would want in his team. His first goal for Manchester United came away to Newport County in a 4-2 FA Cup victory, and just a few days later against Wolves in a dramatic night away at the Molineux. Mainoo's biggest highlight so far came with his first league goal. With the game tied at 3-all in the 97th minute, the Stockport boy skipped past a couple of Wolves players and finished with a low curler into the bottom corner as United secured all 3 points. The post-match reactions to his heroics were a moment of every truth coming full circle. His academy coaches at 7 lauded his dribbling and poise, and now 10 years later, club legend Rio Ferdinand described how he maneuvered tight situations and how he uses his body is giving him Clarence Seedorf vibes. Sports writer Adam Bate described Mainoo as part of United's strongest starting 11. He offers more physicality than Christian Eriksen, more skill than Scott McTominay, and more dynamism than Casemiro. Casemiro himself spoke of the youngster who's covered for him as a midfield partner who could easily become one of the best midfielders in the league. Alongside his quality displays at club level, Kobbie Mainoo has also represented England at under 17, 18, and 19 levels. With the Euros coming up, Gareth Southgate described him as fabulous and is monitoring him closely. It'll be interesting to see how his national team career unfolds, as he's also eligible to represent Ghana, the birthplace of his father. As for his future, Kobbie Mainoo has so far ticked every box on his path to stardom and winning contributions across every level, from his days dominating older boys at under-7s to proving an answer for United's midfield problem in the midst of experienced Premier League players. In a universe where City have their Stockport Iniesta and Phil Foden, and Real Madrid have an English Galactico in Jude Bellingham, England can only dream of Kobbie Mainoo completing the trinity. And at his rate of development, it's only a matter of time till he runs his own show at the Theatre of Dreams. A theater which has had little cause for celebration in the past decade now finds itself with new conductors at the helm. Sir Jim Ratcliffe's Ineos is now controlling football operations. Former CEO of rival City, Omar Barada, has joined the Red Half, and a contingent of young football talents are soon to come to the fore. The changing environment at Old Trafford is looking brighter for the next phase of Kobbie Mainoo's development to unfold and his potential to flourish. And maybe we just might see him lifting the Premier League title wearing the captain's armband.